The casserole dish is still warm in my hands when my sister says it. Not to me, never to me, but loud enough that every cousin, aunt and uncle crammed into Mum's kitchen can hear. They'll be fine, they've eaten before. She's talking about my kids, my 7-year-old twins, Emma and Jacob, who've been sitting quietly at the kids' table for 45 minutes, watching their cousins devour pizza, chicken tenders, mac and cheese, while their own paper plates remain horrifyingly, deliberately empty. I watch Emma's face crumple. I watch Jacob shrink into himself, and I feel something inside me, something I've spent 32 years keeping stitched together with people-pleasing and boundaries I was too afraid to enforce, finally split. Because this isn't the first time. This is just the first time she said the quiet part out loud. My name is Rachel, and for 3 decades I convinced myself that keeping the peace was the same thing as self-respect. I was so wrong. By the time this story ends, my sister will have lost more than her pride at a family dinner. She'll lose her spotless reputation, her financial safety net, and the one thing she values most in this world: control over the family narrative. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the beginning, to the moment I should have seen this coming. It's 6 months early. Mum's estate has finally cleared probate, and the family lawyer, a kind man with wire-rimmed glasses named Mr. Pemberton, calls me into his office on a Tuesday morning that smells like old leather and lemon pledge. I'm nervous. I don't know why. Mum and I weren't close the way she and Valerie, my older sister, were, but we'd made our peace before she passed. She'd even apologized for some of the favoritism, the years of Valerie can do no wrong, while I scrambled for crumbs of approval. Mr. Pemberton slides a folder across his desk. Your mother's will was complicated, he begins carefully, and just like that, my stomach drops. The house? Valerie's. Life insurance? Valerie's. The retirement accounts, the vintage jewelry, the car. Valerie, Valerie, Valerie. I get exactly one thing: a small savings account with $8,000 in it and a handwritten note that says, "For Rachel, I hope this helps. I'm sorry I couldn't do more." Couldn't or wouldn't? I sit there, numb, while Mr. Pemberton explains that the estate is worth approximately $340,000. Valerie gets 98% of it. I get a note and enough money to maybe cover 2 months of daycare. Did she say why? I finally whisper. Mr. Pemberton looks genuinely pained. Your mother mentioned that Valerie had been her primary caregiver during her illness, and she wanted to compensate her for that sacrifice. Sacrifice. The word lands like a slap. Because I begged Valerie to let me help. I offered to take shifts, to coordinate care, to split costs. And every single time, Valerie smiled that tight, controlled smile and said, "I've got it, Rach. You have your hands full with the twins. I'll take care of Mum." Now I know why. She was building her case, documenting her martyrdom, making sure that when the will was read, she'd be the devoted daughter and I'd be the absent one. I don't confront her right away. I'm too stunned, too hurt. Instead, I go home to my tiny 2-bedroom apartment, the one I share with Emma and Jacob after my divorce last year, and I cry into a dish towel so my kids won't hear. My phone buzzes. It's Valerie. "Hey, just got the final paperwork from Pemberton. I know the estate stuff is complicated, but I'm sure you understand. Mum wanted to make sure I was taken care of after everything I did for her. Love you." Concluding, "Love you?" I stare at those 2 words until they stop looking like language and start looking like lies. If you've ever been gaslit by someone who smiled while they gutted you, hit that like button right now. If you've ever watched a manipulator win while you stayed silent just to keep the peace, You're going to love where this story goes. Subscribe, because this revenge is layered, and by the end, you'll understand why silence isn't peace. It's just permission for them to do it again. For the next 3 months, I will try to move on. I don't fight the will. I don't cause drama. I show up to family dinners. I smile at Valerie's Instagram posts showing off Mum's house, redecorated of course, in that sterile Chip and Joanna aesthetic. And I swallow every bitter pill she hands me. But I start noticing things. Like how at Easter dinner, Valerie seats my kids at the furthest corner of the table, away from the adults, away from the good food. Like how she forgets to make enough dessert, and when Emma asks for a cookie, Valerie laughs and says, "Oh, sweetie, those are for the family." Emma is family. Or how at the 4th of July barbecue, Valerie hands out party favours to every kid except mine. Sparklers, glow sticks, little American flags, and when I gently ask if she has extras, she shrugs and says, "I counted based on RSVPs. You didn't RSVP, remember?" I did RSVP. I have the text message to prove it. But I don't make a scene. I never make a scene. I just watch my kids' faces fall over and over, and I tell myself it's not intentional. Except it is, and everyone sees it. But no one says a word. Because Valerie is the golden child, the successful one, the one who held the family together when Mum got sick. And me? I'm just Rachel, the divorced single mum, the one who couldn't make it work. Then Thanksgiving happens, and everything changes. Valerie hosts Thanksgiving at her house, the house I grew up in, the one with the oak tree out front where Dad built us a tire swing before he died. Walking through that front door feels like trespassing in my own childhood. The house smells like sage and butter and something else, something sharp and performative, like Valerie's hired one of those Thanksgiving experience catering companies to make sure everything is Instagram perfect. There are place cards, actual calligraphed place cards. I find mine at the far end of the table, next to cousin Greg, who chews with his mouth open and thinks, "Let's go, Brandon," is peak comedy. Emma and Jacob's cards? They're not at the main table at all. They're in the kitchen, at a folding card table, with paper plates. My chest tightens. "Valerie," I say, pulling her aside, "did you mean to put the kids in the kitchen?" She blinks at me, all wide-eyed innocence. "Well, there wasn't enough room at the main table, Rach. And honestly, they're more comfortable with the other kids anyway, don't you think?" "What other kids?" She gestures vaguely. "You know, the kids." I look. There are no other kids. Valerie doesn't have children. Our cousin Amanda's teenagers are sitting at the adult table. The only people at that card table are my 7-year-olds and Valerie's friend's 10-year-old, who's glued to an iPad and hasn't looked up once. "Valerie, that's not—" "Rachel." Her voice drops and her smile goes sharp. "I worked really hard on this dinner. Can you please not make everything difficult?" I feel my face get hot. But I don't push. I never push. I just go sit next to cousin Greg and pretend my heart isn't breaking while I watch my kids sit in the kitchen, confused and small. Dinner starts. Valerie brings out a turkey the size of a toddler, roasted to golden perfection. Mashed potatoes whipped with cream and chives, honey-glazed carrots, homemade rolls, green bean casserole topped with crispy onions. It's a spread. Everyone oohs and ahs. Phones come out. Valerie poses next to the turkey like she's just won MasterChef. Plates are loaded, wine is poured, and then I hear it. Emma's small voice from the kitchen. "Mummy, when do we eat?" I start to stand, but Valerie's already moving toward the kitchen with an empty platter. "I'll take care of it," she says. I sit back down, uneasy. 5 minutes pass. 10. I get up and walk into the kitchen. The card table is still empty. Emma and Jacob are sitting there, hands folded, while the 10-year-old scrolls TikTok. "Valerie?" I called out. She's in the butler's pantry, rearranging dessert plates. "Did you bring food for the kids?" "Oh," she laughs lightly. "I was just about to. There's so much going on, you know how it is." "Can I make them plates?" Her smile tightens. "I'd rather do it myself, Rach. I have a system." A system. I go back to the table, my appetite gone, and I wait. 15 more minutes. Finally, Valerie emerges with 2 paper plates. On each plate, 3 baby carrots, a single spoonful of plain mashed potatoes, a dinner roll. That's it. No turkey, no casserole, no stuffing. I stare at those plates like they're evidence in a crime scene, because they are. Emma looks up at me, confused. "Mummy, is this all we get?" And before I can answer, Valerie, loud enough for everyone in the dining room to hear, says, "They'll be fine. They've eaten before." The room goes quiet. Not the good kind of quiet, the kind where everyone suddenly finds their mashed potatoes very interesting. I feel my hands start to shake. "Valerie," I say slowly, "there's a whole table of food in there." "And the kids have what they need," she replies coolly. "I'm not running a buffet, Rachel." "They're 7. And they're fine." Her eyes lock onto mine, and there it is, the message underneath the message. Know your place. I look around the table. Aunt Linda looks away. Cousin Greg stuffs another roll in his mouth. Uncle Paul suddenly needs to check his phone. No one is going to help me. No one ever does. And in that moment, watching my kids sitting in the kitchen with 3 carrots and a roll, while their aunt orchestrates their humiliation like it's performance art, I make a decision. I'm done keeping the peace. It's time to burn it. I don't explode at the table. I don't make a scene. I calmly walk into the kitchen, pick up my kids, and I leave. Valerie calls after me, voice dripping with fake concern. "Rachel, don't be dramatic." I don't answer. I buckle Emma and Jacob into the car, and I take them to Denny's, where we order pancakes and hot chocolate, and I let them get sundaes, even though it's 7 p.m. And while they eat, I open my phone and I start digging. Because here's the thing about Valerie. She's not just cruel, she's sloppy. It takes me less than a week to find it. Valerie got the inheritance, $340,000, minus the $8,000 she tossed at me like a tip. But 6 months before Mum died, Valerie took out a $75,000 home equity loan against Mum's house, in Mum's name, using a forged power of attorney. I find the paperwork in a box of Mum's old files that I'd been storing in my closet, stuff Valerie clearly forgot existed. The signatures don't match. The notary stamp is from a UPS store 2 states away. And the loan? It went straight into Valerie's personal checking account. She didn't use it for Mum's care. She used it to fund her small business, a boutique Etsy shop selling overpriced candles that folded after 6 months. It's a fraud, and it's beautiful. I don't go to the police, not yet, because I don't just want Valerie to face consequences. I want her to feel exactly what my kids felt sitting at that card table. Small, powerless, humiliated. So I plan something better. Christmas Eve. Valerie's hosting again because of course she is. This time I RSVP with enthusiasm. I bring a homemade casserole, the one Mum used to make with the crispy breadcrumb topping. I bring gifts for everyone. I smile. I laugh. I'm the perfect guest. Valerie's suspicious, but she can't figure out why. Dinner is served. It's another perfect spread. And this time, my kids are at the adult table. Why? Because 2 days ago, I sent a group text to the entire family. I didn't accuse. I didn't rant. I just shared a scanned copy of the forged loan documents, along with a very calm, very factual message. I recently discovered some financial discrepancies related to Mum's estate. I've attached documentation showing a $75,000 loan taken out in her name 6 months before she passed. The signatures don't match, and the funds were deposited into Valerie's personal account. I've consulted with an attorney and will be reporting this to the authorities after the holidays. I wanted the family to be aware. I hope we can all still come together for Christmas and handle this privately. The explosion was immediate. Aunt Linda called Valerie crying. Uncle Paul demanded answers. Cousin Greg, for once, had nothing to say. And Valerie? She called me 12 times in 1 hour, her voicemails escalating from confused to angry to begging. I didn't answer. So now, at Christmas dinner, Valerie is a wreck. Her hands tremble as she pours wine. Her smile is plastic. She keeps glancing at me like I'm a bomb that might go off. I wait until dessert. And then, as Valerie's slicing into a picture-perfect pumpkin pie, I say, calm, friendly, loud enough for everyone to hear, Valerie, I wanted to thank you publicly for agreeing to repay the $75,000 you borrowed from Mum's estate. I know it's a lot, but I really appreciate you doing the right thing. She freezes. The entire table goes silent. What? She stammers. The loan, I say innocently. The one you took out before Mum passed. I spoke to Mr. Pemberton, and he agrees that since it was taken without proper authorization, it needs to be repaid to the estate and split appropriately. You're going to do that, right? Her face goes white. Rachel, that's not... Or, I continue, my voice still light, still kind, we can let the district attorney's office sort it out. I filed a report yesterday. They said fraud cases like this usually result in felony charges. But I told them, I was sure it was just a misunderstanding, because we're family. The word family lands like a grenade. Aunt Linda's fork clatters onto her plate. Uncle Paul is staring at Valerie like she's a stranger. And Valerie, perfect, controlled, golden child Valerie, starts to cry. You're ruining Christmas, she whispers. I smile. No, Val, I'm just making sure everyone gets fed. I stand up, take my kids' hands, and I walk out. Behind me, I hear the table erupt into chaos. That was 8 months ago. Valerie repaid the $75,000 in installments with interest after her lawyer advised her that fighting it would only make things worse. Half of it went to me. The other half went into a trust for Mum's grandchildren, including Emma and Jacob. Valerie no longer hosts family dinners. In fact, she no longer speaks to most of the family. Turns out when people realize you've been manipulating them for years, they stop taking your calls. As for me, I'm still in my tiny apartment. I'm still a single mum. I still struggle some months to make ends meet. But my kids know something now that I didn't know for 32 years. Standing up for yourself isn't dramatic. It's necessary. And sometimes the people who scream loudest about keeping the peace are just mad that you stopped letting them keep all the pieces. If this story gave you chills, or if you've ever wanted to serve karma to someone who tried to starve you out, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me, what would you have done? And if you want more stories of people who stopped being doormats and started being unstoppable, subscribe and turn on notifications. Because justice? It's always worth the wait.